Today we're talking about when cars approach yellow lights. Now we all know that feeling when the light turns yellow, and us as drivers have a split second to decide whether or not to slow down and stop or gun it through.
I do see some people pushing through where I would have stopped.
Here's what Idaho State Police and Idaho Driving School says you should do. They say when approaching a white stop bar at a yellow light, if you can safely stop behind the stop bar, that's what you should do. If you have to slam on your brakes in order to stop, you may consider going through the intersection if that's the safer choice. But you should not increase your speed to make the light. A good rule of thumb when deciding what to do is if
the front of your vehicle, that is, as long as you are past that stop line while your vehicle is moving and that light is yellow, then you're good to go.
Now I asked if the front of your car means your bumper, the front half of your car, or your front two tires. ISP says that if any part of your vehicle is across that stop bar, it is legal to continue through. If an officer sees you run a red light, you can be cited $90. Even if it's 3 a.m. and you think you're the only driver on the road and you want to treat a red light like a four-way stop, Trooper Moore says you should be following the laws at all time. Now tomorrow we're going to talk about another topic, which is cars turning left into the intersection on a flashing yellow arrow. What happens if traffic gets backed up and now you're stuck in the middle of the intersection on a red light? Do you back up? Do you stay put? We'll tell you tomorrow. Morgan.
Our Aspen Shumpert joining us live with Idaho's Rules of the Roads. She's in Boise to tell us the best option when facing this all too common problem. Aspen.
Yeah, Morgan, we're out here on State Street, as you can see, and I want you to imagine being in that left-hand turn lane with a yellow flashing arrow. You're waiting for a break in oncoming traffic to make that left turn. Now, on the other side, you might run into unexpected backup, construction on the other side. So when you creep up into that intersection and get stuck in the middle of it, you have a decision to either stop and wait or try and back up.
I just did that today where I went through the light and I'm stuck out in the middle of the intersection. I'm like, hurry, let me slide by here so I don't hold these people up.
Idaho State Police say drivers often get stuck in this situation when trying to get on the interstate. Robert Fenn with Idaho Driving School says,
anytime you get stuck in the intersection, you made a bad choice to go.
Let's talk about why. ISP says per state law, you are not allowed to be stopped in the intersection. Police say not only are you creating a dangerous situation, but if you decide to wait your turn in the intersection, you're taking the risk of getting stuck with not a lot of options. ISP says if this happens, you'll need to wait until traffic clears up so that you can complete your turn, and that you should never back up, which can be a stressful situation for all drivers involved.
When a car backs up into me, it makes me feel like more stressed than I should be, and I don't have time to react.
You can be ticketed if you're caught getting stuck in an intersection. You can get a $90 ticket for blocking the intersection and a second $90 ticket for not obeying a traffic signal. ISP says you should not creep up or enter the intersection unless you are sure you can fully make that turn.
It's just safer that way so you don't get stuck on a red light.
Tomorrow, we're going to talk about another hot topic, which is merging. Now, I've learned that I've been merging wrong this whole time, but tomorrow I'll tell you the right way. Morgan.
This is sure to get some people fired up. Today in our Rules of the Road series, we are breaking down the correct way to merge with traffic. It seems like some Idaho drivers don't know how, so we think this might be useful. Our Aspen Shumpert spoke with experts about how to merge properly and safely. She is live in Boise for us. Aspen, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Morgan, merging can be nerve-wracking and tricky if everyone's not working together. You can see some cars were just merging ahead on the freeway, but what drivers don't know is there are actually color-coded commands to help guide you through it.
So do you see your yellow line right there? That means you got to step on the gas to try to get up to speed.
If you look down to the left of any on-ramp on the freeway, you'll see a sandwich of colors.
The 3 colors indicate where cars enter the on-ramp, the acceleration zone, and the merging area.
On the left side of the road, it starts out as white, then it turns yellow in the acceleration lane, and when it turns white again, this is where we put our blinker on and we have to start merging.
If freeway traffic is light, then merging should be no problem. Cars on the freeway have the right-of-way, and it's the merger's responsibility to try and merge with freeway drivers. But when there's traffic, cars on the freeway need to allow merging cars in.
I was trying to merge and there was traffic all the way through the merging lane and no one would let me in.
If someone lets me on, I'll actually give a little prayer and ask the Lord to bless them and give them a calm day. And similarly, if I'm in that position, I always try to let people in.
But merging isn't just for getting onto freeways. Merging also happens on city streets. These roads don't have color-coded commands.
There's definitely occasions where I have to kind of maneuver my way in and it feels a little bit out of sync a little bit.
You could encounter a situation where the lane you're traveling in closes ahead and you'll need to get over into the open lane. These situations are known as zipper merging. Idaho Transportation Department suggests to keep traffic moving, you should move over into the open lane at the point of merge. That's when it's considered your turn to get over. Idaho Driving School says if drivers don't let merging cars in, that's where we start to see traffic flow issues. Morgan, it's best if everyone is on the same page when it comes to merging.
Yes, absolutely. Can make for a very stressful situation. Aspen, thank you. Tomorrow, we are talking about highway rules and answer legally, how fast can you go in order to pass someone? Today in our Rules of the Road series, we are taking a look at how to pass safely and legally. Aspen Shumpert is here to explain the proper way to get around other drivers. Aspen, what do you know?
Yeah, that's right. There's actually different rules for passing on multi-lane freeways versus passing on single-lane highways. Some drivers may think the left lane on Idaho's multi-lane freeways are only for passing. In Idaho, it's legal to drive in the farthest left lane on the freeway. But Idaho State Police says if you are going slower than the flow of traffic, you should move over to one of the right lanes. This helps the flow of traffic keep moving. For passing on single-lane highways, the rules are a little different. ISP says you are allowed to go 15 miles per hour over the speed limit if the person in front of you is going below the speed limit.
Say the speed limit is 50 miles an hour. The guy that is driving in front of you is pulling a trailer and he's going 40 miles an hour. So that means you're going to overtake him and go 65 miles an hour when it is clear and safe to do so on a single-lane highway.
Once you've passed the slow vehicle and get back over into your proper driving lane, you need to slow back down and go the speed limit.
If you go over that 65 miles an hour to pass him and you don't slow back down to the speed limit, you can be cited for speeding.
Again, the rule allowing you to go 15 miles per hour over the speed limit to pass only goes for passing on single-lane highways. So for drivers passing others on multi-lane freeways, you need to still be going the speed limit when passing, or you can get a speeding ticket. Morgan?
Okay, does the series end tomorrow? Aspen, I've been loving this.
Yes, one more day.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about passing tractors and what to do if you encounter livestock. One more day of these rules of the road.
Okay, it's been really helpful. Aspen, thank you.
All week, our Aspen Shumpert has been breaking down different rules of the road. She joins us now in the studio for the last of the series, Driving in the Rural Areas.
Yeah, that's right. With our rural and urban roads being quite different from each other, there's a few things to keep in mind when driving near our farmland. Drivers who've lived in the Gem State for some may have already encountered obstacles in rural areas. For newcomers, these encounters might come as a surprise.
Today, it's tough because not only do you have traffic challenges, but you have different truckers.
While driving near Idaho's farmland, you might encounter a tractor or even livestock. For Idaho farmers, springtime means tractors are often out on the rural roadways.
We don't get to decide when things get done necessarily. Mother Nature decides when things get done, and we have to be prepared and willing to do that.
At Obendorf Farm in Parma, they're planting crops for hops, onions, sugar beets, corn, wheat, and seed corn. Each different crop has a date it needs to be planted. Rural roads and bridges are often narrow, making it a challenge for wide farm equipment to travel between fields.
We do farm right next to Highway 95 on both sides, east and west of Highway 95. So when needing to cross the highway or move to the next field, our equipment takes up a lot of room.
The Obendorf tractors often encounter other drivers on the road being impatient. During one fall harvest, they had an accident. The tractor was loaded with equipment, some sticking out. The tractor was going down a hill attempting to pass a house with large trees out front.
We had a person that decided that they didn't want to wait at the bottom of the hill and try to come up the hill, and in turn they weren't able to get over far enough, and our guy was stuck in a spot and he had to go really slow to try to get by him. Well, the implement shifted just a few inches and accidentally hit that person.
Freeman says they try to get out of other drivers' way, but they have to pull over in the right spot.
We'll be going one way and they'll park right next to a telephone pole. Well, then there's not enough room.
Idaho State Police says drivers should only be passing slow-moving vehicles when it's safe.
Everybody needs to just drive with caution, more defensively. I understand everybody's in a hurry, but that's how accidents wind up happening.
Driving in rural areas, you could also encounter livestock. In Idaho, certain parts of the state are considered open range, where livestock are free to roam, including on the roads and highways. Idaho Farm Bureau says if a driver hits an animal in open range, the driver is responsible for the damage to their car. The driver can also be liable to pay for the loss of the animal if a jury finds the driver at fault. The current price for a cow is about $1,800 to $2,000. Freeman says they aren't trying to slow anyone down.
We're just trying to get our job done and go home, and we want everyone else to be able to go home that day as well.
ISP and Freeman both say that when everyone's on the same page, driving is going to be more safe out in those rural areas. It's better if people are staying cautious and staying alert. Andrea.
All right, thank you very much.